Alright, so now it's time to skip a bit
And that
on
was how I
how
found
they got
Salvador
back
and Delvin.
to their station.
The way back to the global was hell.
You know, it'd be
the way
funny
Faye is
if...
gonna
I know
narrate
the
his
theories about
streams
climate
of
change.
this was supposed to be a
And I
section, but
truly
we had to
believe
cut it
something
off.
must be done about it. But what I don't understand is why you had to make up such an absurd story.
It's the truth.
San Francisco flooded, tornadoes in Europe, and
know I'm
all
talking
as
to a
early as
swamp.
2050? Ridiculous.
It's
I know
We've had a couple of tornadoes.
Go on, Drova. I think she's gonna mention it later.
We calculate time differently than you do. Maybe it's 2500.
Oh, in that case, you can well talk to my son. He is continuing my research. He is the Svensson you are looking for.
Wait,
About that.
I am sure. It was 20.
God, make up your mind.
Listen, I know the studies. My God, I prepared some of them myself. 2050 is nonsense, like the rest of your story.
You sure about
You
that?
can't even predict
If,
the
if
weather
there's
a
only
week
one
from
option
now.
for the dialogue,
And
why
you
not
really
just do
think
it
half a
automatically then?
century is too short
Yeah,
a
it
time?
feels
Indeed.
very
You turn your back for just a
unnecessary.
second, and 10 years
Look,
have passed.
you
I'll
can
talk- I'll
control
talk
when
about
they
it more later.
speak.
I'll talk about more when there's gameplay.
And the poles have melted.
No, the world is continuous. It's only people that change.
If only that were true.
Whoa, suddenly cut off dialogue there.
As I said,
Okay.
it surprised us too.
Oh my, you really rehearsed your part well. Okay,
Again,
then.
dude, she
Welcome to the
literally
20th
warped out
century.
of nowhere.
Continue.
Don't you think
What does
that
all this have
deserves
to do
Well,
with
some
she has
benefit
arrived
of
via
the
About to get to
helicopter,
that.
so
As I
he
said,
has no
the
way
way back
of,
to the other time capsule was pure torture.
believing
I
her
really
right
hope
now.
this story has a
Alright, let
punchline.
me guess. Her
want me to
time
continue
travel
on?
Okay, I
machine
think
probably...
she's about to
Depends.
mention.
How long will it take?
Fine, whatever. I'll make it short. We finally reached the global. Night had fallen by then, and we decided to camp in the ruins.
Which is the segue to our next chapter. Yes, A Night in the Global.
So is like most of the game going to be her basically telling him her story essentially?
No, only the initial, let's say the first half.
Okay.
Wow, I never thought
Interesting
we'd get out of
pacing
this
choice.
Don't
but
you
I
have
digress.
stuff to do? This
But
is no
yeah, you know,
campfire
like I
radio
mentioned
operator.
before,
Come on,
the voice
Salvador. I think it
acting
deserves some recognition.
definitely
I mean,
feels
first the
like
crane,
it's a
and on the way
throwback to
back,
the
that
earlier
thing with
days,
the
even though I'm
alligators.
pretty sure the reason it is the way it
Alligators?
is because it's a
please.
bunch of
You said you
people
didn't
who
want to hear that story.
definitely don't have
Oh,
English as their
crap.
first
Is
language
there
and
a
are
problem, Delvin?
Yeah,
doing all they
that-
can to just keep the accents up.
That and like I said before, I really get the feeling the actors were not told the context of each line.
Yeah. Also,
That being said,
go on, sorry.
What
that
does
being
a
said,
bit risky mean
if I were to
exactly?
take this as the throwback era, this really feels like a throwback to classic Resident Evil. Like, not just the way the characters speak, and by that I mean original Resident Evil voice
Then you'd better
acting.
not
But
miscalculate.
man, even our main heroine kind
Then
of
I'd better
dresses a
not
bit similar to
miscalculate.
how
It's as
Jill
simple as
did
that.
in the first Resident Evil game.
What
It's
more do you need for the takeoff?
Alright,
kind of
Let's see.
interesting.
you're
I would
gonna
need the
learn.
exact date
You're
for
gonna
starters,
learn very
the
quickly
temporal
from this
target
dialogue,
coordinates,
but
so to speak.
What else?
unfortunately, sorry.
It's not quite as simple.
Unfortunately,
Can you be any more
Salvador
clear,
is
pilot?
kind of an asshole.
I need an atom.
Adam?
Aren't there
Villain.
enough around?
Yes.
Not
and
really.
no.
He's
I
really
need a
just an
specific
asshole.
One that has a quantum matrix to
It's
allow
from
us to travel to
Salvador.
the designated
The
time.
the
I
one with the
see.
green
A
text
pity I
with.
didn't bring my quantum microscope.
I told you it's complicated. Let's focus on finding out the right point of time first.
Right. The most important thing is that we prepare for this new situation. We need more information
I
to
guess I
adapt to the
shouldn't
mission
assume just
profile.
off the name Salvador, but I'll admit I kind of thought he'd have
Oh,
Nigel
something
had a
of a
plan. He
European
gave me a
accent.
data
I get the
crystal.
feeling it's
yeah.
meant to be an irony because Salvador stands for savior. So
Yeah.
I get the feeling it's meant. I get the feeling it's meant to be ironic.
A European-made game with a
What's
character
that
called
supposed to be?
Nigel.
Some sort of data storage unit?
I think so.
The
Typical.
old fool plummeted to his death for this? I always feared that his lack of objectivity would endanger the mission at some point. And now we're stuck here. Only 2 men left.
Hey,
Oh, Milady wants to help too.
Oh,
I'm holding
casually
my-
Well,
sexist
Like
as
we
well.
said, Salvador is an asshole.
there's some kind
Well,
of
that
library
well
on
that
the
was
other
just
side of the
unnecessary.
street.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Moving
Sure we
on.
can find all
That
the
being said,
information we
I
need there.
want you
A
to keep,
library?
you know,
Was that
everything
why
that
it took you
happens
so
here
long
in
to find
mind,
us in the first
because
place?
it will play
I
a part
didn't even
later.
know.
While others risk their lives, Milady takes some time off to read. Well done, Faye.
Reading. What has that ever accomplished?
A woman reading. That's just preposterous.
If you want to say something, make sure it's something
Most
useful.
unorthodox.
Why don't we travel into the past as far as possible?
Study 478. In order to be influenced, people have to perceive the problem first. We need a time where climate
Basically,
problems
we need to
already
teleport
exist for
again
our
in
infiltration
time
to be
with a specific set
successful.
of coordinates,
so,
because
too.
otherwise
We're
their
looking for
plan
a
will
really
not
small
succeed.
time window. The climate change
Honestly,
must
if
be
you
made,
ask
but
me,
it
an
mustn't
ideal
be too far
circumstance
advanced
would
yet.
have to
So
be
that
time
would be a
travel,
temporal
like
needle
say
in a haystack?
around
I'm not
the
going to
end of the
comment on that.
1800s
Does someone
and
have a
start
serious
forming a
suggestion?
cult that
It's
will,
pretty clear to me
will
what we
gradually
should do.
take place
We
and
go to
will
the
actually
library
be,
and search for-
prevalent
I have
by
a
the
better
time
plan.
shit hits the
I
fan.
will
But
check out the
what do
library
I
over
know?
there.
Like, if I understand
whatever.
correctly, the
Maybe I can
limitation
even
is
find
that they
some
have to
kind of
correlate
device
to
to
a
read
time
out the
date
data
that
on the
pertains
crystal.
to
I
the
saw a
issue
few
that they're
terminals.
dealing with.
Thanks,
Like,
yes,
radio operator.
again, their
In
entire
tech-
sure I
spiel is
would've
about
found them even
raise
without your
awareness to the
valuable
climate change,
contribution.
so they
And
need a
don't
time
forget that
place
there's a
that
second crystal.
is where the
Nigel
problem
said-
is
Nigel
just
was an
present enough to
idealistic
be aware
contrarian.
of,
I
but
can
not
imagine
too
what his
far
plan
enough
was.
to be reversible.
Listen, radio operator.
I
I am the
guess
highest
that
ranking
sounds
officer on
like
this mission
Loophole
now.
City,
You
since
will
you
do
could
as I say.
technically
And I
argue
want to get a
that
picture of the situation
almost
myself
every
first.
year there was
Any
at least
objections?
somebody. Okay, maybe
No?
not in like
Didn't think
prehistoric or caveman times,
Jesus
but
Christ,
like,
What did I do
dude.
to him?
Don't take it
holy
personally.
cow.
I think he's
Somebody's
still
got to
upset
help him
because
with
of
that
the thing
broom
with the
stuck up his
alligators.
ass.
I know,
Good
right?
work, but Salvador is not one who likes to be shown up.
Alright,
But yeah,
time
no,
to
I mean,
get to work again. Go on, Joe.
I know that I'm like one of the last people of humanity, but that totally
looks
still gives me the
exhausted.
room to be an asshole to people for no
You
reason.
look tired.
Like, technically, with how the time travel
you look
works,
more
couldn't
grown
they
up as well.
arguably, well, it's true,
That bad?
unlike
Yes.
you
Look at
insinuated to
you.
you,
Much
they could
calmer
technically go
and
to
more
a
experienced.
time where
A lot has been going
anyone
on
was
in the last
concerned,
12 hours, I
hey,
guess,
the air
but you
feels a
don't
little
grow wise and
hot,
old
and
this way.
technically they could go
Like
back as
this is
early.
why the game is set in the 80s, and it's what the game considers, ideal material in terms of time travel, which I kind of understand. Again, my suggestion
Delvin's
instead
back.
was to travel further back, not necessarily to raise awareness of the
Strange
problem,
fixtures.
but to start
Some sort of
building a
adapter
cabal,
and
basically,
clamp
that
thingies.
will
I
spring
guess
into
only Delvin
action
knows
when the
what to do
time
with
is
that
right.
stuff. Well,
I know it
I'll
sounds
say
like a
this.
super villain plan, but I don't know, it
I'd
seems
better ask
that he has
Delvin
better
if I
chances
need
to work
anything.
when
I don't
just
even know the names
teleporting
of
the
things
80s
he's
and
keeping
saying,
in there.
hey, we're from the future, everything is fucked, fix it now.
Sweet.
In terms
That must
of,
be
you
one of those
know,
butterfliers.
obviously they want
You
the
like
story
our
to bring
light,
this
don't
character
you?
to where, our main hero is,
What?
but
Sweet.
No, the way she said, oh, you must be one of those butterflyers.
Again, she's from the future, doesn't know about animals and shit.
Doesn't work. No
But,
compartment.
yeah, no,
Not even
like,
for a battery. What do
I get
want this
why
thing
they
for
did it,
anyway?
well,
It
it's
won't
to
bring the
explain
others
why she
back
comes back
anyway.
in time the way she does to our main hero,
No
essentially.
power. I
But
wouldn't even know what
in
to do
that
with
case, though, if I were writing, I would have just said, due to the limitations of how powerful our time machine is,
Salvador
there is only
sometimes
so
takes
far we
notes
can
with
go
this.
back in time, essentially.
Oh,
and to,
check this out, what Salvador has,
No.
has
Salvador could read
written
it, and
on
he
it.
wouldn't
If
understand.
I'm gonna make her read in a second, yeah.
2:54 after the onset of the mission. 2050 is too late. Phoenix plan about to fail. Teams A and B, as well as D to H, are dead. Were rescued by radio operator F-42. Hey, my name is Faye. And why is that written in brackets? Next step. Reorganization with pilot Delvin. Calculate new target time and initiate second time jump.
So,
Hold on.
in true point-and-click game
250,
tradition, if I recall
2015,
correctly, we can also just wipe the
There.
recording tablet like
Data
that.
deleted.
And
Serves
mind you,
him right.
it really has. You think we will have a bearing
No,
later? Salvador gets pissed off, but no. This is just a thing that you can
It's
do.
from our
You don't even
hospital
get.
ward.
I don't
Funny to
even
see it
remember
here.
if you get an achievement or not from it. It's just a
only
random
went.
thing that makes Faye look more spiteful than anything. I get
I
that
don't
Salvador,
know.
is genuinely just an asshole, but it's not really an
This lamp
excuse
has
to
enough
wipe
strength
out
and
the
energy to last
recording
a
of a
month. I hope the
mission.
mission won't take that
yeah, like,
long.
not for nothing. What if he had plans that could have legit saved the world on there and you just
Like he
wiped
said,
it?
I get it that the general philosophy of the point-and-click game genre is usually to not be,
These freezers
very
are for
good
storing
people,
food
because
or
it still
medicine.
involves involves a lot of things like shoplift using trickery to win the day, or bizarre situations that doesn't make your main character necessarily look like a saint. But there are ways to deal with that. Generally speaking, the King's Quest series, despite us committing, weird shit and potentially still killing people, generally still operates on a good guy mentality with the Daventry family.
In King's Quest, usually whenever we do something that would normally be more bad, the people who we do it to are usually the bad people.
They demonstrate that they kind of need that kind of comeuppance. However, like he said, Jan Müller-Michaelis, probably took more inspiration from the Monkey Island series, in which, sure, Guybrush, again, generally was an asshole, and again, by the time this game was made, let's not count what happens in Return, which is a kind of worms of recent times,
It'll get its time.
Just from the titles that come out at this point, Guybrush, yes, was genuinely kind of an asshole and everything, but there was a sense of comedy and everything. But between this and Deponia, I kind of get the idea Ian decides to enjoy more about the drama and the cynicism rather than the actual comedy.
Yeah.
If I may.
Compared to Deponia, this is a story that takes itself far more seriously, so of course, there's still not that much comedy to begin with. But in general, almost every single character in this story is usually relatively an asshole. So if you're not a person who genuinely, gets set off by having a story in which almost every character is unlikable, you're not gonna have a good time.
Like, okay, the thing with Guybrush is, even if you could consider him a bad guy, since he had, well, one important thing, charisma, something to help endear him to the audiences in spite of some of his more morally dubious actions, essentially.
Also, once again, a clear villain because LeChuck was just that asshole on his own right.
Well, yeah, it's also... Yeah. Again, it's like, to use a more popular comparison, Jack Sparrow also works on that same mentality, right? Where technically he's technically not a good person, quote unquote, like on the strictest definition of the word, right?
I would say Jack Sparrow's technically someone with a heart of gold, especially given the backstory of how the fact that he's only a pirate because, well, he was branded one for freeing slaves, which was, well, deemed thievery, essentially. Now, granted, what he does as a pirate afterwards is up to him and whatnot, but I'd say he's like, Jack Sparrow is definitely on that wavelength, but he's the idea of the morally dubious fellow who does ultimately have a heart of gold, but it still is guilty of, some legit crimes.
I think the issue with this game is that
there was only one door leading into the library.
Okay, I think what this game's issue is with its characters is, I get it.
Come on.
We're going to do some dubious things for the ultimate goal. The thing is, it feels like this game's story just focuses on literally the mission, and the characters are like secondary. Like, this feels a lot more story-driven than character-driven. And that's not always a bad thing, but there is not much to the characters. So what we do have to go off of the characters does make them look and sound pretty asshole-ish.
Alright, now we need to talk with Salvador, because what we need to do. It's important. He also has a suitcase with a probe and a plasma drill.
Salvador, are you playing Minecraft on that thing?
He's supposedly, it's more like reading Wikipedia, the equivalent of that.
17th century. We will need every technical advantage we could get.
So let's see what we have so far.
Salvador?
What do you want?
How's it going?
This is a very crude security system. The library's protected data...
That's not an answer to the question, but whatever.
Yeah. Alright.
She's asked how's it going, as in how's the work going.
Oh, well, okay, at least he says it's not our fault about Sadie, so...
Again, they're trying to not making a complete jackass, just very rude to say. But like I said, keep in mind everything that happens in this flashback in mind. The important part is that, this is the remains of an actual library in the year 2050. So that is also bound to be slightly technological. This is important for something we'll do later in this chapter.
I will say, though, him being outwardly sexist, like, again, usually when you do that, it's usually either with a guy who, A, is going to die in a horrible fashion as comeuppance, B, will have a redemption arc, or C, is secretly a bad guy, or not so secretly a bad guy.
Or a combination of them, supposedly. But again, we're just relatively still at the start of the game, you'll see.
We work our butts off.
Yeah.
Milady is going to secure the area.
Yes, give the radio operator guard duty.
There's a probe in that box.
Salvador,
No,
what the fuck?
Take the drill.
I guess it's better than putting the blind woman on guard
Then you
duty.
send the probe through that hole. Do you still have your time radio transmitter?
I am a radio operator after all.
Then you'll hide in some corner, and you'll use your TRT to steer the probe through the building.
Basically, Salvador
After that,
suggested
you can
to
take
try
your
to
break
use
for
the
all I
probe
care.
to look around.
Sure.
And
But yeah,
and the plasma drill will be used to actually fire a small, hole into insert the probe. Oh, I think I'm gonna try to do something here.
Vehicle with a camera.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it later.
Oh dear.
Go on, Pedro.
I hope this will work.
I hope this will work too, Faye. But, oh, okay, never mind, it doesn't.
It's a small laser to create a tiny hole to put the probe in.
Bravo.
Laser!
I
Anyway,
did a good job.
no,
of
it's...
it.
Continue.
I think it's, let me put it this way. I feel like
Oh,
the
yeah, there you
issue...
go.
That's
No,
no
I
use.
cannot use the drill on
use.
Salvador, sorry.
Remember, we're supposed to be the
See,
good
if them-
guys.
See, if this was a King's Quest game, we would be able to do it, and then there would be a death screen.
Also, there's
You
this
didn't
very
drop it,
pointless
did you?
moment in which it
No,
seems that Faye had
everything's fine.
dropped at the probe dropped, but she denies that when Salvador asks, and she collects it
I
immediately.
must use the control
I don't
panel of
know
the
about
TRT
that.
to control the probe.
All right, let's. It's too dark, so we probably need to open the light. What?
Nigel?
Nigel, no.
I just saw Nigel.
Actually, it was the way she said it was,
He's
Nigel?
alive.
It was just your imagination.
Ma'am.
It's impossible to survive a drop like that.
We must help him.
You did your job. Now go and
Let
take
me
your damn
guess.
break.
It's Nigel from
Okay.
a different point of time travel.
Now it's
That was
well.
an
That's what
order,
we need to
radio
find out.
operator.
Now it's time to
Your
do
orders
classic
don't carry
point and
any
click
weight here.
fuckery just to get
Go take a nap.
just to get from the obstacle. Basically, now we need to find a way to blow up that thing too, so that Faye can pass through, and you'll just be able to see exactly
Looks
what
even
happens.
worse
Go
than
on,
the rest.
Pedro.
I hope that isn't a bad omen.
Let me put it this way.
Oops, I think it's
Salvador's
Good grief.
dickery
Simple letter
doesn't
of
feel
trouble here.
productive for the plot. It feels like he's just
I
an
could
asshole
climb
just
across it
cuz.
If it weren't broken.
And that's what's the problem.
The red glass is much too thick
It's
and
like
the
I
structure
said, you
much
only
too
make
wobbly.
someone
I
that
either break
dickish
my hand
either
or
if they're
Salvador
gonna
won't be
die,
coming back.
you got an arc in mind for them,
No, both
or
things wouldn't be
they're the
nice.
bad guy, essentially. Or like Tio mentioned, a combination of it. And like, unless he's got a development coming, yeah, the seal's
The
more like
glass is too thick to
telegraphing
do
more than
that.
anything, and it's not even fun telegraphing.
Again,
At
you'll
least
be
in
able,
my
you'll be able
opinion.
to see how this develops. Let's just say there is a sort of a point in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's talk to Delvin.
So Nigel might very well be alive and
Delvin
in
is
our
working on this laser.
walls. Creepy.
Easy now.
We used more energy
Although
than
you'll notice
expected.
his
I
face
hope
was
it's still enough for a
obscured like
second
Gordon
jump.
Freeman's in Hunt Down the Freeman.
We spent the whole evening at it. Nothing is left, and I don't want to
Could
do
it
it
be-
anymore.
Like I said, Dibs, I'm absolutely convinced that this woman was not given any kind of
To do
direction.
before we can leave, if we can leave at all.
Because there's no way she would deliver the Nigel line when the drone was caught that way if she was given any actual direction of
Like
what
I
the
said,
scene is
don't
supposed
worry.
to be.
The worst line rating in the entire game is still
things in your way?
in
Do
this
you
run,
want
and
me
you'll
to
be
clear
able
them
to
away?
hear it in a few
Thanks,
parts from
but I
now.
will need
Don't
them
worry.
This ought to be interesting. To quote the
Is
great
everything
and
It feels
brilliant British
Well,
mind of Dwayne
I'm still
Harley,
worried about
I
the
can hardly
chronomodulator.
wait.
It feels like he's working on a light on one of those light reflection puzzles from Layton.
Kinda.
So basically, Jovi, you're saying I went to Germany and altered the script.
I don't know. It's pretty complicated. I have to adjust the mode correctly.
See, the guy playing Delvin is actually enunciating.
I've never been Germany. There, that's your denial.
Even a small mistake will disrupt.
You've never been Germany. Well, of course you've never been a country.
Again, Pedro, it makes me wonder if it's more of a case where some of the people that they hired had a better understanding of the English language about enunciation and everything.
Is there, like, any repository of information we can
No,
find
like
out
I said,
about the making
Drova,
of this
like
game?
I said, Drova, I don't know if they're supposed to be them.
Nigel is still alive.
Are you absolutely certain?
I saw him. We have to go to him immediately. And Salvador, he doesn't want to help.
When was the last time you got some sleep?
So, you don't want to believe me either?
You should rest.
Thanks.
I mean, we're from the
I'll
future where
make do.
time travel is a thing, but people coming back from the dead is...
I wonder if things will ever be like they once were.
What do you mean?
At this time a week ago, we sat together and told stories. But now there's only this mission. That's so...
IMDb only credits probably just the
unfair?
German voice actors.
Yes.
I don't remember if, I don't know if they're also supposed to be
Can
the
you
German
help me to
people who
boost the
voice in
drill?
English. I really don't know.
I have to drill
And
my way
behind the
into
voice
the
actors
library.
doesn't really have
Whoa,
anything
that's
on this.
dangerous. The whole
And of
building
Wow.
course Wikipedia is
I'll
even
take
less
care.
about it.
Don't
And I assume
Like I
this
said,
game's
I'm
actual
on-
credits don't really mention them
Oh,
either.
we'll get to that in the final part, Joe, but there's something special about these credits.
You know,
Sorry.
considering the way Delvin and Salvador talk to Faye, I'm genuinely fearing that I'm gonna get one of them throwing leave this to men in like in Gears War
I mean,
Judgment.
Salvador kinda has already done it, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he
Delvin is
hasn't
just,
told her...
well, Delvin is technically a bit more amicable. He still is partially
Thanks. I'll
condescending
get on
to
with
her.
things then.
See you.
I guess at least neither of them have told her to get back in the kitchen,
A
woman.
multi-purpose
Well, there is no
tower.
kitchen. There are no kitchens in this world, so they can't.
Can be replaced.
They're still conveying the idea of we don't know what you're probably
The
not
blue
able
filter
to
from
do
the
anything
plasma drill.
decent right now, so just stay put.
Could this
Now,
blue
I
filter
will give
replace
them the whole
condenser
doubting that
membrane?
Nigel
May
is
I
alive
say-
Anyway,
thing, though,
there you go.
because...
That is a little
Basically, what we did from
crude,
before,
but yes, it could work.
was to cut a piece, if I recall correctly, to remove the filter from the
fantastic. It really works. Here, I think you can have the
the
membrane
drill,
now, but
which
be
uses
careful
a
with it.
blue filter for its laser,
It's
and
just
gave
a
it
net?
to
Yes.
Delvin.
In
In
order
turn,
to use
he
it, you
gives us
must
a
put
net
an energy source in it,
which
and then
functions
connect it
as
to
a
the
power
drill. The net
conduit.
draws energy
Attaching
from the
like a
battery,
battery
pulls
to
and
it, and
redirects
what
to
we
the
need
end
to do
device.
will
I just found
amplify
a
the
battery in the
power.
camp.
Looks like you have everything you
Okay,
need.
then.
Okay. Thanks.
There it is. It's
Okay.
called the membrane.
Yeah, that
Membrane
little.
without an
Okay,
energy source,
thanks.
It will be useless. In with it.
It's like she's not. It's like she's questioning the line as she reads
The
it.
drill should have enough
I
power now.
mean, yes, the voice direction in Sonic Adventure 2 got heavily interfered
Okay.
with, but...
If you pay attention, Delvin was talking about how different types of, color shape, the potency of a laser. So what we
Yeah.
need to do now is to cut a piece of the global
Well, a
insignia.
small round piece of
How they
glass,
still have
and it shines
electricity, I don't
red. I'm
fucking
getting
know.
better with the drill.
Which produces a small red glass, plastic glass type of thing,
A red shard I
which,
cut out of
if
the
we
illuminated
insert in
advertising.
the drill, will supposedly amplify its
All
power
red.
because a red laser is
The
more
drill should be
powerful than the
stronger
blue
now than it
laser.
was with the blue
Never mind
filter.
that, but that's not even remotely how that works.
Jova designed this game clearly.
Look. Even though red's my favorite color,
Don't
that
worry.
doesn't cause me to
Svensson-
throw away all scientific
Svensson
know-how.
himself is gonna try to... No, I still
no
cannot
use.
use it.
That's no use.
Svensson himself
That's
is
no
gonna
use.
try to question this in a second. But
It
yeah,
had to work this time.
this, ladies
I
and
have the net with the
gentlemen,
battery.
is how Faye deals with a
Filter module
fucking
with the red
wall.
glass.
And
There was a typo just now, but I'll mention it.
I don't know from where you acquired your knowledge about lasers, but red lasers have lower energy levels than blue ones.
This is true,
and
actually.
How that membrane of yours is supposed to work is a mystery to me as well.
I risked so much to be here today, and you really believe I'm just making all of this up?
But it's scientifically impossible.
And it worked, I
We
guess.
are inside a ruin.
So
and
I
you
guess
blow
science
up the
just went,
walls?
you know what, we're in the
The door's
future,
open
I'll
now.
give you that one.
Wait a sec.
So, for the purpose of this puzzle,
Energy
red
supply
lasers
and
are now
manipulated
more
the color
powerful than blue
frequency through an
lasers.
improvised modulator.
Sure, why not?
I love how she completely ignored Salvador's angry comment.
Can't order me around.
Also, I love
I
how
just wanna show
Salvador
you
calmed
something,
down
so
pretty
come
soon as
here.
well. Oh? Here. Come
And
see after
he
you
uses
wall.
that
What are
to
you
take the
doing?
drill
I
from
still
us.
need the drill.
Just making sure you don't tear down the foundation. You can keep the
But at the
membrane.
very
Now
least, we
get
can
out of
keep
my
the
face.
membrane. Cool.
I mean, he's a jerk, but to his credit, what she did was insanely dangerous.
He still did it with a bit of trickery inside rather than just asking directly. But anyway, what
Nigel?
matters is that we enter this
Hello?
next section and supposedly find the person that we saw that might be Nigel or might be not.
Well, how far did the bug go in before spotting supposedly Nigel?
Well, possibly very, soon. Keep in mind that we're on perspective. We're now under the place where Nigel has fell.
That's at least 5 feet. I can
Maybe
barely
it
make
was
out
his
stairs and 2 display
ghost.
cases
Sure.
down there.
Why am I vocalizing my thoughts?
This looks like the terminal.
Well,
Nigel
it's
was
to the
Point and
imaginary
click,
people.
point and click
Maybe
logic.
it's the same one.
Protagonist monologue all the time in those.
It got completely destroyed
I-
on impact.
Again,
I'll give it
look at
some-
LucasArts'
Couldn't have
inspiration.
survived that
They it's more, it's
Yeah.
more very involves
You're
than
More
even Sierra stuff.
Yeah, well, King's Quest 7 did this too, yeah. But the ones before that used the narrator for these lines.
The one that takes absolutely the cake to me is the first Dark Seed,
computer chip
in
from
which
the
the
terminal.
voice actor who plays the main
It seems
character,
to be
as
undamaged.
this also slight discount Burt Reynolds, way of talking, and he has to narrate every
If the
single
wall falls,
thing
I'm dead.
in an almost egotistical
That's
kind of
Nigel's
way.
crystal. The
It's slightly
force of the
endearing.
impact drove it into the
A
stone.
Burt Reynolds impression. Holy
I can't
cow.
reach it. I'm not suicidal.
All right,
Are you
That's
sure?
good.
Are you sure about that? But it
Let's
doesn't
try
sound
to-
very convincing when you
let's
say
use the
that.
pedal to get it. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh no.
Probably just the acting.
The runner
Oh
washed it down
no!
even further.
Oh no! Like, sorry. Anyway, that's where the soap comes in handy. Using
I
the
had an idea.
runnels, we can put it
I
there,
took the piece of soap
and if
and
we
washed
manage to
it
get
down at
to the
same
bottom,
spot
we'll
the
be
data
able
crystal
to
had
follow the soap bubble, trail to get to where the crystal is. That's actually not too bad of an idea.
been. 3 strange sockets were leaning against the wall.
Let me guess. They were teleporters? You stood on one, mumbled something into your weird radio, and bingo, you were on another planet.
No, they were rusted shelves.
Oh, what a pity.
Okay.
He is
for
absolutely
one of these
taking the
signal
piss.
Rusted shell.
There's a button
So how
here.
exciting.
However,
That
there's no
doesn't do
power,
anything.
so it doesn't do jack. Also, there are sockets in which you can have,
This is a signal lamp.
floor type of, lamps that serves to indicate the way.
Just break it open.
No power.
Remind me, was
Oh,
it
I know.
sequel-
Wait, I know how this works. We have to push the big crate and then use the plug in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so we can activate the terminal.
Or you can get a bunch of
That's
potatoes
exactly
and
what I
wire
need.
them up and power it that way.
Yes.
You need a
Well,
shitload of
That
them,
was
but
easy.
it'll work.
Remind me, you mentioned other games in correlation to
wonder the
these. Were they
terminal doesn't
sequels or
work.
more
The
spiritual
chip is
successors
fried.
just made by the same
Just different
company?
game that use
Okay,
the same
little chip.
gameplay structure.
You did a great job.
Okay.
But it is time to
Like
let
I
go
said, I
now.
played the Deponia games. One that I got
Farewell.
recently is called, still from, Data Leak, is called Night of a
Okay,
Rabbit,
in
but I
we
haven't
go.
played it yet. We'll see
Oh,
what
how
happens
I
to that
miss
in the
animals
future.
and people.
But basically all
Instead, there's only
self-contained
machines
gods.
that
Yes,
don't even
it's
thank
the
you for
Deponia
helping them.
franchise, but it's the big one that you would continuity and everything.
Mm-hmm.
However,
No,
still no
still
power
doesn't
despite,
work.
changing the chip, but if we manage to get on the bottom level, we should be able to find a way to reactivate the electricity. Again, don't ask me how, despite the fact that the place is run down.
I think the problem with the cynical tone... okay, here's the thing. If the cynical tone was done for the purpose of, you know, enhancing, like, the... again, kind of like how in Last of Us, the reason we have the reason we have so many humans be pieces of shit is to illustrate what would happen in the real life scenario where an apocalypse would have happened, right? But this is a post-apocalyptic world where there's only 3 people that we know, right? So the game cannot really contextualize the cynicism of the world in an interesting way. Oh my god, that's even worse delivery. But like, it feels like it's just cynical for no reason.
It also strongly implies that all the people who are dead, you know, in the other that we saw that were in other locations, you know, like you know, Moscow and stuff. Those were the nice ones, and we only got stuck with the assholes.
Again,
yeah,
like,
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying. Sorry, go on.
That should be
And there you go. There's the soap where the runnels ended up. If we inspect them now, we get the crystal, but as you will see in a second, we're booted back to the place of Salvador, where Salvador is, and we'll have to get back here. This is because I'm slightly sequence breaking, so don't worry about that. Go on, Jova.
I will say, I feel like part of the issue with the tone, I think, correlates specifically to the acting, essentially. I feel like if the acting were better, maybe the tone might come off more clear, or whatever tone they were going for to endear us to these characters. Well, again, it's my issue with the script as well. The script focuses first and foremost on the mission, but the characters feel like they come second, essentially.
Also, you might start to notice it now, but one not as egregious as cases of recent times, you know. This is basically creates also the atmosphere where everyone of the team is really asshole-ish and against, you know, Faye. But Faye, in order to basically react to that, she comes across also as slightly asshole-ish on her own. Again, creating an environment where there's not, even when catharsis is supposed to happen, you know, it doesn't feel as satisfying as it should be. Like, you're supposed to supposedly root for her actually getting shit done, you know, and demonstrate to Salvador that he's a piece of shit and she is perfectly capable of handling the situation. But all of the times she stumbles, she does mistakes, and she comes across as a bit pretentious of her own, which, you know, you really shouldn't do it.
It's the same problem. Go on.
Like, I wonder if the idea is to show that, hey, she still has her faults and flaws, she's not flawless, and this also shows that she does still need the help of Svensson, essentially.
Like I said, this is why it's not as egregious case as something we've seen in recent years, you know, when they try to apply strawman. Faye, when it comes to, you know, when it comes to summarizing everything, I'm still perfectly fine with Faye. This is just something that I'm noticing that, especially in these early chapters, is very noticeable.
Records exist everywhere. It couldn't have been the first one you've seen.
It probably was my last, too.
Okay.
Good thing the soap got caught there so that the bubbles could still stay and it didn't get just swept out.
It's the same problem as in The Last of Us Part 2, where it's
Hello?
just...
Is someone there?
Hello?
It's the ghost of...
a Nutrimat. I didn't
the
know
future past.
so long.
But, like, where it feels like, okay, not so much misery simulator, more like cynicism simulator.
And you know, I get it. The world is ending, so obviously not everything's gonna be hunky-dory, but like many things, balance can help.
Also, you have to ponder on a meta level, is this a story that you think people might be interested to be invested in? Just saying.
You knew that?
Like, I will say this, so far I feel like this would be a game more fun to play, just to faff around and then actually being invested in the story. I'm not saying that the story is awful, it's just that I feel like...
I mean, when it comes to point-and-click games, Joe, but that's usually the MO when you get down to that, every single one of them. It's just to enjoy the ride and see what crazy antics do you have to endure.
Oh, that is true, but you know, again, if I were to speak on how I feel about the stories, like, I mean, and granted, a point-and-click game can get away with this, but I do like a point-and-click game that, you know, goes above and beyond and does deliver a good narrative along with that.
Actually, that does remind me of an example that I can make, like, I don't know if any of you has actually played, but you know what I argue is technically point-and-click, even if by that time it kinda scoots away a bit the formula. That tries to have a more dark tone with more cynicism and anything, but I do believe manages to pull off because of people behind it. 7 Max Season 3, The Devil's Playhouse. If you don't know anything about this series, don't worry, we'll get to that also too, because delving into the mind of Steel Purcell, it's its own kind of interesting kind of experience. But that kind of season deals with a lot more dark tone and very potentially sad and nightmare stuff, which might feel oppressing, but because it's still Purcell type of humor, traditional type of humor, if you know anything about 7 Max, you probably will understand. It's still very endearing despite everything. Anyway, new puzzle time, and don't worry, this interface is just there to scare you. This is still pretty easy. Because all you need to do is to rotate the levers that are the buttons, the levers that are on the bottom, these 5 ones that are there. If you have trouble, you can reset them with the red button. Otherwise, everything else is to give you supposedly an indication of you know, where the level of the weight on the ride is supposed to actually be present of. So it's one of those type of puzzles that maybe trick you into pressing like all buttons and what's in different combination, but in reality you just have to do just a few presses in a specific order, and all the lights turn green as a result, as you're about to see. And again, if you're still having trouble, you can easily just keep it to. And
I
voila.
did it. If I trip the main switch now, I should have power again.
See, she delivered that line with enthusiasm.
Maybe maybe there's a character arc where Faye, having not gotten to experience the real world essentially, is more of a dull shell of a character, but the more time she spends outside, she gains more emotions and becomes more human.
You know,
maybe the day she said that line, she had an actual director there.
Yes, Pedro.
You know, the English voice acting for Arc-Rise Fantasia kind of has a similar thing to it then, where it starts off terrible, but you can tell that as you progress through the game and more, you get the feeling that the actors were starting to understand the material better throughout, and towards the latter part of the game, the voice acting is still not good, but it does sound quasi-decent at times.
It's an improvement over how it started, I guess.
Okay, has there ever been a project where the voice acting progressed from terrible to godly?
Not that I'm aware of. When I do Arc-Rise Fantasia, I'll just have us 4 do it, and I'll have the Japanese voices, because trust me, I want to give you guys a chance to at the very least try to enjoy the story as the developers intended before Ignition Entertainment ruined the Western release. You know what I mean? After that, don't worry though. After that, we'll have a special extra part where we make fun of the English voice acting because it begs to be made fun of. I assure you.
All right, we got the power crystal, and now there should be, you know, terminal energy to the terminal, so let's try to recover the data. That's what Salvador asked us to do, because again, the data might be corrupted.
Good evening, and you are welcome.
And yeah, that little thing in the monitor, which we'll see, give it a better look in a second, that was the guy that was used in the tutorial. That's our connection.
Ah, that's cute. He's a character.
It's an in-universe character, like a mascot for this library.
Please enter
Will
your
he be
password.
our Omo
Alright,
child?
do you remember what the password was?
The
Well,
password
there
is
you go.
loading out.
out. That.
Welcome back. Nigel, what can I do for you?
Well, maybe you can stop interrupting yourselves with these lines early.
What is this?
My name is Quickie, and I am part of the multifunctional Quickie Information System Platinum. In order to make your time
You
at the
know,
Jack London
in most
Library
cases,
as
I'd expect
comfortable as
Quickie to be an
possible, I
acronym
possess
for
a
something.
Okay,
but
Jova, you're the
preferred
American. Is there a
system of
Jack London
state-of-the-art
library in San
civility
Francisco?
algorithms. I am fluent
In San
34
Francisco?
languages.
Yeah.
I
No,
am
no,
there's probably a
specifically
ton-
this name, like Jack London's library.
Oh, the Jack London Library from San
Or is it like a
Francisco.
fictional
I don't
place that they
understand
create?
any of
Again,
this.
this type of
I need
advancement,
help.
of course. I was wondering
There is
if
no
it's an
help
already
available on the
place,
topic.
existing
Help.
place that is supposedly,
Just
you know,
great.
in an advanced state at this point.
I want to download the same data as yesterday.
I'm not aware
this
specifically
query
of
cannot be
a
processed.
Jack
This
London
query
Library
cannot
in
be
San
processed.
Okay.
Francisco.
Please try again.
Oh wait,
Nigel.
hold on. That said, from the Libraries of Famous
I want
Men,
to
there is
download
one
the
about
data from
Jack
yesterday
London
again.
who, you know, by the age of
Very
17,
well. May I
had
call your
navigated San
attention to the
Francisco Bay as the
comprehensive
Prince of the
services we
Oyster
offer?
Pirates.
So they
and
probably
sailed the
dedicated
Pacific
that to the
as a
place to
soldier.
him.
But that won't be necessary.
Also,
which
yeah, so
topic
it's,
do you wish to
it's
access
cliches in
further
these.
information?
This
The
part of the game is still
cafeteria's
relatively
menu?
charming
I said
because
they-
basically
benefits
we're
for
having a
premium account
pantomime where
customers,
Faye is
or maybe
angrily
our versatile
asking her
e-learning
data
offers.
to actually, you know, be downloaded, but the machine doesn't understand.
What is a cafeteria?
What's a paladin?
The premium account offers several interesting advantages. Did you know,
The
for
premium
example, that premium
account?
customers have
Yes,
limitless
as a
media
reminder,
flat
this
rate
game was
or that
handled
they
at
get a
the end of
reduced
the
admission fee
2000s,
to
so
our
only
introductory
when we were
events.
starting
If
to
you
have the
register with
stuff
one of our
like, you know,
service personnel
early
now,
DLC, not
you
even
will get a
day
quickie
one
key ring
DLCs at
for
this
free.
point. So the worst that you will get is stuff like, say, the Horse Armor in Oblivion or the Catwoman missions in Batman
What is a
Arkham City.
cafeteria then?
Wasn't this game released in 2010 though?
That's the supposedly, you know, definitive edition, you know, final cut. The original version was released a few years before.
Oh, I get it. So basically, like, in terms of release, 2010 is, you know, oh, well, more like the official release as far as the world is concerned, but, you know, locally it
Everything's in
was
ruins
released
here, and
much
that thing is
earlier.
telling me something
Not
about
not a
premium
lot,
offers.
but just a few years.
You want to know
Which really
more
just
about
show
our
how far the
cafeteria's
internet
menu?
came
How
in a
about an
small
ample
amount of
breakfast?
time.
Or maybe you just prefer a cup of coffee. Nigel, enjoy our
But
rich
you gotta love
breakfast
how
offers
even in the
and
apocalyptic
unbeatable
future, there's
all-you-can-eat
premium
price.
currencies
You want
to deal
download the
with.
data
Of
now
course.
without further information on our service offers? Very well.
Even when the
Finally,
world
loading.
burns, capitalism will
Loading.
still find a way to
Loading.
survive.
Process aborted.
Oh, for
Please
fuck's
initiate
sake.
upload. Please talk to our friendly
And of
personnel at
course,
one of the
technology
service points.
still
All the
finds ways to
personnel are
take
dead.
us
I am
off.
sorry, but I didn't understand you correctly. Please repeat your enquiry.
There are no workers here anymore. They all died during the climate disaster.
I am sorry.
You
but I
sound
still
so
couldn't understand you.
concerned. Like,
Please
it
talk
says
to
something that the
staff.
literal computer sounds like he has more
I don't
emotion than the
understand.
woman.
So basically, ha ha ha, you didn't say the magic word. Ha ha
I
ha.
uploaded the data to the crystal.
Upload couldn't be initiated for unknown
Brilliant.
reasons. But don't worry, Nigel. We have
Thankfully,
a copy
that's
of
your
data
hint
in
for
our
this.
Crystal
They have
Archive.
a copy
Please
of the
talk to
data in the
service
Crystal
personnel
Archive,
at
but
one
we
of the
need to
service
actually
points
find
to
it.
get help.
I'll try to download the data again.
Very well. Loading. 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 Process aborted. Couldn't initiate upload. Please talk to our friendly personnel at one of the service points.
They're dead! Oh my god, that
What's a
actually
service
sounded like
point
it had
supposed to be
emotion
anyway?
put behind it.
Our service points are marked by a blue neon sign. Just look around. You can't miss them. Our friendly employees are always happy to help you. But please understand
Oh my
that the
god,
large
yeah, I
number of
am getting
visitors
Jurassic
can
Park
cause waiting
vibes from this
times.
guy.
Yeah, that was actually one other thing that I didn't mention before. No, it's weird too, like that bit that we talked about before, where there was only one dialogue option versus OLED, so why even have because you didn't see it, but like when we did Life is Strange True Colors, that game also did that in Chapter 1. And it's just like, if there's only one option, why even give me a choice? Just have the thing progress then.
The safes in the
It feels
crystal
just
vault are
unnecessary.
unlocked now. Please follow the glowing lamps to the requested data storage. Error: light signal in the shelf malfunctioning. An employee was advised of it and will change the lamp.
Sure.
Data crystal can only be unlocked if the lamps in both
That's
slots
basically
are
your
working.
cue.
I ask
The
for a little
data
patience
slots
and
need
wish
to
you a
require
good
to
day.
have both
Nigel.
lamps working. Thankfully, we did collected one, meaning that if there's a problem, we can actually, you know, plug it in and see what happens. Again, I'm sparing you because otherwise it might feel, unnecessarily complicated.
Although I should say, it also it can technically work as long as there's
Also, my text turned into Cyrillic.
Whoa. Okay.
That was weird.
This is not the only time.
Wait. Did the dialogue just when you were there in the cursor, it showed the dialogue in a different language?
That's what I mentioned, Pedro.
Okay, but why did it do that?
Because it's a bug.
Okay.
And not the only time when it happens. As a reminder, this is supposedly the version that irons out most of the bugs. So I dread to think how it was originally.
I know, right?
Anyway, what you're supposed to do is to put the lamp into one of these rows. Because it's the only one that has one that is, illuminated. All the others are completely deactivated.
I can't reach it.
God damn it, Faye. You're hard to love, but you're harder to hate.
Anyway, if I remember correctly, it's from the third row, starting from the top. Yeah, there it is. And then we just need to collect the crystal.
The data should be intact.
Yeah, Esperi says that the data is fine, there's a backup copy, so we're good to go. There you go. Now we can actually present that to Salvador.
This data crystal holds a backup copy of Nigel's data. The data should be intact.
But no, like, okay. Technically, there are certain moments in Crystar where the game shows you a dialogue choice and there's only one choice, but I can't spoil why, but there's actually a story context for why the game is doing that. So it can work, but it's very dependent on context.
Yes, I even got the original data.
Well done. Give it to me.
I hope we'll have more luck this time. Does it work?
Stop needling me, radio operator. It takes a moment.
Although, to give you credit, Salvador actually wants Faye to look at this.
Faye, come here. You have to see this. Emilio Endez. Tycoon and multimillionaire. And he's in the energy industry. Look. At the turn of the millennium, he built more than 30 large-scale power plants in third-world countries.
Drug dealer
10 of those
who does
right
his
here in the
business in
Brazilian
South
jungle.
America.
Oh boy, the Brazilian jungle.
Oh my god, it is in South
And then-
America.
Yep.
I'm surprised I didn't go for the Amazon jungle.
We're operating slightly on Captain Planet logic.
So it's his fault. The evil man who
The
makes
explosion
money off the
destroyed the better part of
environment.
the rainforest.
We'll have
in
supposedly
no
a
time
power
at all.
plant explode, and
The
that's
effects
what
of
is
that were
causing, was
cataclysmic.
accelerating the
That's
disasters.
terrible.
Where was Goddess Whoopi Goldberg to help out with that?
She was
Nuclear
busy
winter.
being Star Trek Next
Greenhouse
Generation,
effect.
I don't know.
The Gulf Stream dried up. And look, the poles. All that happened within just a couple
that
of
was just
years.
Magneto shifting the magnetic poles.
That photo. What was it?
The dangers of climate change had already been known for some time. There were protests.
So, how does
There
the
was even a
story
class
fare as
action
a
against Indez
PSA, I
power
wonder?
plants
Oh, you'll
right
see by the
before
end, Drova,
the
don't worry.
event. And this, the International Energy Inspection Authority. There was a hearing in Oslo where they decided whether Indez may continue to operate as power plants.
That must be it. Nigel wanted us to travel there, to that conference.
Maybe, maybe not.
Look what it says. The decision was made in favor of Indez because of lack of alternatives. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? The
Indez.
Salvador, I'm absolutely certain.
Just
The
said,
conference
do you
is
have
our
any
chance.
better ideas?
We must
No,
present
fuck
the
you then.
algae. If Indez
Basically.
must pull the plug on his power
Hold
plants,
on this.
the Earth will be saved.
Too risky. Indez is our target. If we can stop Indez, we can stop the climate change.
So,
Either way,
kill
we must get
Indez?
to the conference.
Wrong. We must get to the power plant. We must prevent the accident.
If we did that, we would only delay the catastrophe. The other power plants...
Fiddlesticks, I've made my decision. We go to Brazil.
No!
You want to head to Delvin. Tell them to get the
Fiddlesticks.
time capsule ready.
I don't want to go to Brazil.
A reactor
Lord.
accident? Nonsense. If a climate catastrophe
Brazil really that
occurs,
bad?
it will be through global warming.
Okay, by the time of the
Continuous
80s,
environmental
not as
pollution is
much,
the enemy,
but these
and
days
not
it's
some
not a great
Hollywood
place to live
scenario.
by, living with.
Yes, continuous environmental pollution that can go off with full effect in the blink of an eye.
Nonsense. Simply nonsense.
Whatever triggered it, we can prevent it with your help.
We
Care
have
to
a
explain
target
why
time.
you're with
Now we need
him,
the
though,
atom
instead
and
of
time
at
capsule
the
that's ready for
core,
takeoff.
then?
We'll
Everywhere.
get to
Solve the
that. We're
problem by
getting
now.
there. Go on, Pedro.
I feel sorry for Faye. Everywhere she goes, no matter what part of the timeline, she only finds assholes.
It's her canon event.
I guess it is. God, I thought if I traveled back in time before the world was destroyed, I would find someone who's a bit more joyful. But even here, I'm stuck with this dick.
Faye, I unpacked our rations. Here, take this.
Okay, cool.
Delvin, we have a new objective. We must go further back into the past. A power plant exploded and caused the climate change.
A power plant exploded?
That's our chance to keep the catastrophe from happening.
Remember what Delvin said. They need a specific atom that's belonging to the time period we're supposed to travel in.
Only.
That way,
Oh.
we can make
Neither have
supposedly the
instruments
internal
nor the
computer of the
time
time
to
machine
find
analyze it and
date
use
such
it
an atom.
as an
Where
anchor
did you
to
get the
attach to.
information about the power plant from,
Huh,
anyway?
so Sly
downloaded the
Cooper
photos from one of
Thieves
the
in
times.
Time
Yeah.
wasn't the first to think of that
A
method
lot,
of
a lot of
time
time travel
Films
stories
were
use
saved
that
in
to have a
gelatin-coated
catalyst
media,
that
so-called
is
video
required
tapes. If we
to
can
travel
find the
back in
original
time.
material,
Of course,
the
we run
atom
into
we
the whole
need
thing
would be in the
about,
gelatin coating. Do you happen
artifacts
to
and
know where
similars
there's
are
an archive
technically
here?
not necessarily
I'm working on
belonging
it.
to that
Take
time
care.
period because they either aged or the material they've been doing it is
We
either
still need the
even
original-
more ancient or they're built in, but there's a bit of a suspension of disbelief involved.
Okay, does this game at least add an extra detail, like say, well, we can analyze it and then, pick a time that it's from, essentially, as opposed to how Thieves in Time just went, oh, here's a random artifact. It'll conveniently take you to this point.
Well, like I said, in that game
Did
it
you talk to
required it
Delvin?
was more of a chance of
Yes,
luck
the
that
time
unfortunately
capsule
led
is
to a
up and
lot of
running, and we can
contrivance.
get the
In
atom
here
from the
they do
original
require
tape.
something from that specific time
Jeez.
period,
And
but
you-
thankfully,
you will
being
find
in
your
a
way down
library,
there and get
which
the video
also includes
material.
a
Each
storage of
artifact in this
artifacts,
archive
means
has
that we
an
probably will
identification
find
number.
something that
The
belongs
original
to a time
recording of the
period
Indus
that,
catastrophe
is,
begins with the ID
something that we need.
2110.
I guess I'll give Faye credit. I honestly
83210.
thought she was going to
That should
use
help
that
you in your
moment to
search.
trick Delvin into sending her to the time she wants to go instead
Well,
of what
she still
Salvador wanted.
She still would need, an atom from that time. So
Well, I could have served for actually telling Devin the news straight as opposed to being petty.
supposedly Faye is still, wanting to be a by-the-book type of, operator, But he said Salvador is showcased by the fact by his desire to wanting to go against Indez. He's willing to take more risk, but as a result to being more of a terrorist than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's time to actually try to open that door and solve the mystery on who's behind it, if it's really Nigel or someone else.
Hey, I made contact with the probe and... Oops.
Uh-oh, it's right behind me, isn't it?
But wait, if it's inside the door, that means whoever's...
And that speech pattern and, you know, the voice acting doesn't sound like the one of Nigel.
There. Talk to me.
Leave me alone. What do you want from me?
Who are you?
Who am I? Dunno. Who are you?
I'm Faye. Are there any other survivors?
Yes, many friends. I have a lot of friends here, Faye.
What's behind this door?
The depot. My home.
And his friends are just like the spiders that are living on this base.
Who is Nigel?
An older man with a beard and glasses. He must be here somewhere.
No, no one's here.
But you just said you weren't alone.
I told you, no one's here. Leave me alone.
I need access to the media archive.
Do you have something to eat? I'm starving.
I have these pills.
I don't want any pills. Can you cook?
I can't cook you something.
Then I won't let you in.
Okay, I'll leave.
Basically, we need to try to convince him by cooking up something. We do have our rations, but we need something else to do it, which means it's time to overload the locket, if I recall correctly.
I finally placed it,
I'm going
guys.
to draw the energy from the lock into the battery, and then I can open it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
This game was directed by Neil Breen. There you go, I figured it out.
Why, Faye? I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you.
I mean, it would explain the delivery of these lines.
That reminds me, how is this latest film?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. Remember, I'm waiting for us to do a commentary, all of us doing it blind, because that's the best way to do these, obviously.
Brilliant.
Anyway, by using circular logic, we made partially the machine explode, which means we can collect quarters from it, you know, and use it to get some of that quote-unquote red curry cloak. I don't even want to know how that tastes.
Well, aren't you the master of unlocking, sweetie?
I kept the album under my bed. Wouldn't that be funny? Looks like it could fit. Now it's gone. Red curry.
Alright, let's try it. There you go.
A Nutriment. A bottle of red curry Coke.
So if we take it and combine it with the pills that you know, the Nutri pills that Delvin gave us.
No, it's black and not even transparent anymore.
Ha ha ha.
Chicken l'orange.
We create basically the equivalent of curry chicken, some sorta.
Oh, really
of
sticky.
Course, that's how it works.
A slushy pop looks tasty.
Curry chicken is really just curry Coke.
It might look pretty okay,
Seasoning
but I know
chicken.
what's in it. I cooked it after all.
So if we just leave it there.
You call that cooking?
Look, I have something for you.
Put it on the stairs over there. Now get out. I'll let
Don't
you
even
in if
look
I
that
like
much. And if we go back inside afterward.
The food is gone. Oh,
and the door is open. Seems like they can trust us after all.
And soon we shall see just who is this man, I presume.
Well, it's a bit dark inside. Also, cute mouse.
No, don't touch it. Oh, full of twist is going to be on the mouse is mutated.
Yeah, it is someone who actually got Nigel's
You
coat.
gave me quite a fright too. What are you doing here?
Oh dear.
Which, again, to be fair, I kind of like this because the game doesn't spell you, you know, directly into your face, you know, with having Faye just blatantly say, "Oh my God, that means Nigel is dead." You know, they basically just tell you visually that yes, Nigel is technically dead, and this guy just looted his body.
I don't know. There was no power plant here, just a library. That's a lot of questions. Just leave me alone,
I'll admit,
okay?
it's a decent enough fake out. You know, the place was dark enough that if all she could see was the code, she would mistake Nigel. Sorry, she would mistake that guy for Nigel.
They aren't here right now. A pity. I would have liked to introduce you. You could have cooked for them.
Are your friends the rats?
Or the voices in your head.
How did you survive the catastrophe?
How do you mean?
You must have noticed the climate change.
I don't know. I don't like you.
I have to ask these questions.
Too many questions. Much too many questions. Tell about my life again. I don't like that.
Okay
then.
That's all.
What?
Alright,
I'm
the
looking
object
for a
that we may
videotape.
find
Where's
that may
the
help
archive?
us into
This whole
locating
place
the
is the
atom
archive.
supposedly is a
Quick, it can
videotape.
get you what
You
you
know, a
were looking
VHS
for.
tape.
Hurry.
I would like to remind you, by the time this game was made, while not,
looking
you
for a
know,
man called
still
Nigel.
very
Did you
common,
see
they
him?
were not
No,
completely
I'm
gone
all
just
alone.
yet.
Only my
So,
friends
kind of
and
makes
I are
sense, but
here.
and since the
going to
time of the
search for
game
the
is set in
tapes.
the 80s, you know, it kind of makes sense that it will be VHS. Well, I'm surprised we did not make a beta joke.
Such a huge bed. He must have found it in some kind of palace. Do you sleep here?
Uh-huh.
Isn't that a bit big? Oh, what am I saying? I'm sure it's very comfortable. The hammock is filled with litter. Do you want me to help you clean up this mess?
You didn't really say that.
You can't litter your home with garbage now, can you?
That is of
Also,
absolutely
if
no
for a second there I thought
consequence in such a
the guy was
situation.
hanging on the wall,
If we do it together,
when she
we will
said,
be
"Do you
done in
sleep
no
here?"
time.
Leave it as
I've
it
always
is.
the response,
Alright.
"Yes, I always sleep hanging on the wall like this."
A shelf with old paintings from the doomed culture.
Definitely seems to be a
I had
peculiar
pictures like that when I
one.
was a kid. At the time,
That
I
or
didn't
like
know what
her,
the
he
terrible
hasn't had
things
much
humans of the
interaction
past
with
had
the
done.
outside.
A really strange device. I can't even describe it. What's this?
Don't know. Found it.
Looks like a glass with razor blades. Life must have been strange here in the past, don't you think?
Maybe.
Okay.
Food containers. Looks like he ran out of food only a short while ago. Isn't it horrible that we have to live like this, fighting for survival every day?
Olivia said that there is a well-stocked supermarket in Marin. I can get more of them there.
Once the mission is completed, you will
Oh,
live a better
who's
life.
this Olivia?
I promise.
Also, live a better life. He may not
I
even
have one?
exist when you
It might
change
help
the
me on the mission.
past.
Yeah, no idea why
No,
did she say
That's
that to
okay.
him.
I'll make do without it then.
Okay. I'm willing to attribute that to, again, how she was,
Books.
her upbringing, essentially,
more books.
where
I've
she
never
thinks first
seen
and
so
foremost
many in
on,
one
oh,
place,
everything
and
will
in
be
such
better
good
when the
condition.
mission is solved, not considering some of the
San Francisco
complications and
Rivers
consequences.
By Gonzalo Benjamin. Wow, you read a lot, don't you?
No.
But you read?
Sometimes I leaf through them before I use them to light a fire.
Oh,
Huh.
The Eye of Horus by Lawrence D. Gilbert. Days of Sacrifice by Ben Cross.
Wow, they really thought up book names for all these
The
books
Wheel
to
by
I kinda
Delvin
like
and
this. It's just the fact that they mentioned just
Wow.
a bunch of them in order to
But-
not
oh.
make the analyzing, you know, too repetitive.
Death and the
And
Maiden
it
by
allows to have a
Robin
couple of,
Aronson.
you know, like inside jokes or references.
The San Francisco.
That's nice.
It's better equipped than our emergency kitchen. I'd better not, or he wants me to cook something for him again.
Alright, it's time to get that artifact, so let's try to use
I
the
hoped to
terminal.
never see something like this again. That isn't the friend you were always talking about, is it?
No, this is Quickie.
Ugh, good.
What, Quickie, the
Every-
Nesquik bunny?
I remember that's the name
Everyone.
of a mascot
Sean,
of a
Rachel,
library.
Please start the enquiry.
I am looking for an
I
artifact
could
that
so
starts
see
with the
Data
ID
trying to make this their mascot
2110
character back in the day
8321
anyway.
Weirdly
00.
enough, it wasn't.
Autocomplete
So
resulted
yeah,
in
thankfully
3
we
matches.
got
1.
the
manuscript to
Salvador
Antima
gave us the
de
idea
Shah
of the objects
by
that we
Ray
need.
Clement. 2110
No, definitely not.
8321 0012 2. A Ninan Opus Lux C SLR
Not really
camera.
either.
2110 8321 0089 3. Video material
There it is.
on
There we
Mendez
go.
Catastrophe 2110 8321 0091. Do you want to order one of these objects?
Alright, if I recall correctly, I'm skipping also a bit again, but if you try to take to request immediately the video, Quickie will
I'll
tell
take
you
the
that
camera.
the container cannot be
Please wait.
dislodged. So we need to find instead a way to understand what is going on. And thankfully, we can use, well, the camera for that. Since a camera may have an, an auto, an auto-click function, we can maybe set it up, send it back, as an artifact, and gives us let us have a photograph of the entire area, so we can see actually what's going on there.
I must hurry now.
Yeah, because right now there is nothing. Also, put your thumb away from the display screen, Faye. Holy shit.
Gonna get your fingerprints all over it.
I am done with the artifact.
It's like those people who try to, handle CDs by just slapping their fingers, on the actual surface, instead of actually handling them with care.
Mm-hmm.
Good day.
Alright, so if we order back the camera, if I recall correctly, now it should have the photo of what we need.
Let's look at what footage we got.
There it is. That must be the videotape over there to the
There
right.
it is,
And
those
I
are
can
the
make out
tapes,
something
but as you can
else,
see,
a box with an ID.
the containers are a bit too unbalanced. But there is an empty crate, so maybe we can do some smuggling.
We could just get it to fall into that one.
Well, first we need to still send back the camera.
I am done with the artifact.
Good day. Sean,
So if we order...
I need the video.
Yeah, just for confirmation, if you order the video, Wiki will tell you.
8321-0091.
Interesting how all these quickies were personalized for one specific person, it seems.
There seems to be a
Or
problem
for the
with
section
your
of the
order.
library.
The container seems to be damaged or non-accessible. Objects with a similar ID are in the immediate storage area. 1. The manuscript to Antime. 2.
Yeah, we already did this.
I want
So
the
let's get to the artifact,
with the number
which is empty.
8970-9987.
The container with the ID 3476-8970-9987 is empty. Do you want this artifact anyway?
Yes.
Yeah, it seems big enough to actually, to smuggle in.
Now the only question is how to get it
This box
in.
is much bigger
Well, we have
than the
someone
others.
else that
Even
can send us.
fit in there.
Ah, we're gonna mail ourselves.
Yes, it's basically that.
It's foolproof.
I don't
Just
think
pray
so.
to God that it doesn't seal you in.
First, let's ask him first.
Hey, survivor.
Can you ask Quickie to send the box back, please?
My friends wouldn't like that very much.
Please, as a favor to me. I will even cook something for you and your friends.
You would do that? We are hungry very often.
Sure. Scouts honor.
Okay, let me know.
Where are you,
You must call
Venom?
back this box in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks. You're a great help.
Alright, let's get inside. The idea is that it will pick up us again in 10 minutes.
You can send me down now.
Okay. Quickie, send her down.
And Fate died because the container was pressurized. The end.
Again, imagine.
Thankfully, no, it doesn't do that, but it gives us access to the box.
Would it be like that scene in License to Kill where a guy gets his head blown off because of that?
It's jammed.
Of course it's jammed.
What year does this game take place again?
They sequence right now in 2050.
I don't care what
So in
Salvador
2050
says.
we'll
I
be
say we must
using
talk to the
VHS
people.
tapes
He'll
again.
realize
No,
that
these
I'm
are an
right.
archive,
From the 80s.
Yeah.
So it seems that Faye actually is going to go rogue and take matters into her own hands.
Took place 1 week before the accident. This tape holds the atom
It's in the wise words of Mickey Mouse, Jova, it's a surprise tool that will help us later.
A documentary on the power plant disaster. Part 2. The catastrophe.
I don't care what he says, Sing.
The Indes catastrophe.
Oh my God.
A documentary
This
on
game
the
was
power
originally
plant
released in
disaster. Part
2006. That would line
The
it up
conference.
perfectly with Elise's I don't care what happens to the rest of the world.
Alright, now it's time to for waiting for
I got inside
us
the box
being picked
and
up.
waited. I don't remember for how long. 10 minutes? Half an hour? Nothing happened.
Your friend left you hanging in there. He probably didn't like you telling him how to live his life.
Whatever. He had betrayed me.
So now
Hello?
what?
Time Travel Control Center, come in, please. Squatty? Naomi? This is Faye. Can you hear me?
Abort mission. Lost.
Yeah, I have no idea because she should know that the rest are already dead. No idea why she's asking about them.
And heck, if you thought to call them now, why didn't you call them earlier?
And this is what gives her the idea about Ben Svensson.
Ben Svensson? I never said that. Hello? Hello, who's speaking?
Make sense.
What?
I said make some sense. And stop cackling like a chicken. Where are you anyway?
Cackling like a chicken.
Or what does it even sound like in a way that would make that joke make sense?
It's like Dan Green Black Bible. Clock like a chicken.
That must be the difference between a
As we all know,
professional
chickens
radio
are known for
operator
their
like you
evil
and a
cackling
layman like me,
skills.
then. When I radio, I always receive clear messages.
No, you don't understand. I heard myself. Not now, but later. What I'm
Supposedly
trying
she heard like a
Oh.
time ripple echo effect that supposedly
We
gives her the
communicate
idea.
through time. What did you expect?
So it was herself trying to warn herself, I guess.
I wish she had picked What Are You On?
Ring every kind of bell.
Yes, why are you
He
on?
is the one who's been supplying us with energy for centuries.
That's it.
Yeah. Who would have guessed there was a connection between him and the Svensson generator, right?
No, I mean,
I'm
that's it.
guessing he was being sarcastic there.
Yes,
It's hard to tell with this
Remember,
acting.
remember, the
we
time
can't do
machines
anything without the
operate in
tape.
what we're calling the Svensson generation.
I've got the tape. I've even got 2 tapes. One is about the catastrophe, and that's the even more interesting one, a recording of the climate conference a week earlier.
Then what are you waiting for? Bring it to me.
I can't. I'm trapped.
Just great. Where?
In the archive. A friend was supposed to get me back out, but I'm still waiting.
A friend? Just stay where you are. Over and out.
Jeez.
Might as
You
well.
do exactly as I tell you.
Nice box. I hope they don't produce you in quantities now.
Thanks for your help.
You said you got the tape?
There you are.
Good job.
And here's the second one. Okay, about the plan. We travel to the climate conference and tell the people there about the Svensson generator. After that, they'll shut down the power plant and poof, the climate catastrophe will never have happened.
And I'm sure these people will immediately believe us when we told them this.
And produces the lines that the guy Salvador killed the other guy off screen.
You can keep the video of the conference. I don't intend to sacrifice the mission.
I
for some
mean, I know he
diplomatic
betrayed us,
mumbo-jumbo.
but...
The power plant will be our target.
Dang, we probably don't even see his corpse, do
No,
we?
we never see him
If we
again,
travel to the
in
power
fact.
plant, even more people will die. We will go to the conference.
Like,
It would be
I
in
feel
your best
like
interest
we
too.
could have
Now you made me
accomplished that
curious.
by just having Salvador come with us and just breaking into the room as
Or
opposed to...
Delvin too.
Like, I guess the point of that character was just to give a false hope that Nigel was alive.
And to showcase that even in 2050 there are still some
Maybe everything
survivors.
is completely different from what we are seeing on the tapes. If we traveled to the conference, we would have a week to find out more
I'm
about
wondering
the
if this is
reason
also
behind
to
the
show that
catastrophe.
Salvador is of a darker morality that he's willing to
again,
kill.
it's showcased also by the fact that he wants to, take matters in a more violent way.
The mission fails. If we try everything to prevent the accident beforehand, it will increase our chance of success.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Do you need anything more?
I'm surprised he's actually hearing us out, given how much of a hard ass he's been.
Well, if you've seen the game so far, you know where we're going with this.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Was that all?
That's still not enough for you?
All right, I'll let you go to the conference.
It's the better choice.
You proved your intelligence and skill today. You altered the drill on your own and repaired an alien
Okay.
terminal. I'm sure you won't have a problem getting the second time capsule up and running again.
What?
In case you haven't noticed, there's only room for two
Yeah,
in
Salvador wants to prioritize him and Delvin to go back and just leave Faye here.
Yes, and one more thing. We can't avoid violence. People who have to die
So
will
basically,
die.
you know, I respect your opinion. That's why I'm going to leave you to die.
Sucks to be you.
Since you are here with me now, I guess you managed to repair the second capsule.
No. I tampered with theirs.
Oh.
Okay, now let me explain. At this point, at this moment, you might get, a soft locking glitch. As in, for some reason, when you're gaining control of Faye in this sequence, your inventory might not show up. How do you fix this? Supposedly in the options, switch to windowed mode. Don't ask me how that fixes everything, but otherwise, you cannot progress.
So let me get this straight. This game has a progression bar that can only be fixed by playing the game in windowed mode?
I don't know either. Even the people on Steam that actually, discussed this were just as baffled. And again, this was a thing that was never patched out. And of course, because this game is not very well known, people who normally would, create fan patches for games to be stabilized for modern times, of course, and probably haven't even heard of it. But I'm pretty sure it's something that's not too hard to fix.
I will say, I always...
And there you go. Faye being Faye, she tampered by using the videotape of the conference.
Time jump initiated. Pulsar on maximum power. Target coordinates logged in. Quantum signature of the video. Something is wrong.
Oh.
My God!
My God!
Abort time jump.
Too late. The time drift will tear us apart if I don't readjust immediately.
Faye, I'm gonna kill you. You switched the videos, didn't you?
I love Faye's reaction. Did
I
do that?
I'll try to save what I can. Okay, keep cool.
And yeah, as a result, she goes with Salvador and they have to leave poor Delvin behind.
Earlier. On March 21. No way.
I mean, sure, like you said, he will still condescend to Faye, but compared to Salvador, it was a much
what
better
did Salvador
bet.
say?
Bye!
I hope I got it right.
Wow. I guess he doesn't have too hard a feeling about being left behind, though.
When they were talking about Emilio Indez, the rich guy with the porn stash, they said that he's big in the quote-unquote energy industry. Oh, okay, the energy industry. It's just like the I forgot, Joe, what's the name of the corporation in Sonic 06 that we help?
The Light Rim Corporation?
No. I'm pretty sure that's a different name.
Rimlight.
No, that's it, Rimlight. Yeah. It's like the Rim... So basically, Emilio Indez is actually the founder of the Rimlight Corporation. They are the #1 providers in the quote-unquote energy business.
Oh my God.
Not even the most generic function for a company ever. The energy business, whatever that is.
Well, it's funny, since Sonic 06 is also kind of a time travel plot with us trying to prevent the end of the world.
Well, at least now we know that this takes place in the same universe for whatever reason. Let's see.
Alright, see you for the next part where we see what happened to Faye afterward.
See ya.